Well, hi there, guys. It's Rory here, and Billy's just asked me to just share on thankfulness on my journey and what God's done in my life. And hopefully, this will inspire you guys in Children's Garden and second phase for the next stage and exciting things that God has planned for you. Just want to start by saying that I came to New Zealand when I was 22. I came by myself. I had a backpack and a few $100s, which quickly got spent. A bit like the prodigal son, really. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and the trip went really bad. I blew the money, and just like the story, the prodigal son was in a bad place, and that was when, as the story says in Luke 17, that 14, I believe it is, God opened. It says the boy come to his senses, and he asked for forgiveness, and he came back to the Father. So just want to start by saying that the first bout of thankfulness is recognition of God and walking with God. And just for myself, the whole theme through this is based on James 1, where it talks about enduring hardship and trials and tribulations, because out of chaos, God creates opportunity. There's a cool story in 2 Kings 4 about a widow who just had oil. She pleaded to the prophet to help save her and her family because there was a famine and they were going to die. And the prophet said to her, "What do you have?" So the first thing I want to say to you guys today is, what do you have? This widow only had some oil, a couple of jars, and what the prophet said to her was, "Ask your neighbours for jars." And by having somewhere or the space to fill things, God will always fill the space that we create for Him. And what happened in the story was, it was only when the jars ran out that the oil ran out. And so there's a story there about not limiting God in our capacity, but we have to grow so He can fill us with more, like a river, so we can be blessed to be a blessing. So that's the first point, really, is trusting God, walking with God. And as I just looked through my journey, it all came about really through a couple of other things. The second one was hard work, really just getting stuck in and having a real hunger and a desire to earn and work, because if I didn't earn and work, then I wouldn't be fed. I was halfway around the world in a country without my immediate family next to me. The only real family I had was church family, but I had to learn to work, survive, earn money and provide. And so we really need to have that hunger, and there has to be a need that drives our hunger. But the real thing there is taking hold of opportunities. I've heard a saying that says the grass is not always greener on the other side, because you still have to mow the grass. And what that means is that we can look at what other people have got, compare, and then get dissatisfied, but we don't know the journey that went behind those people having to work for what they've got. So take your opportunities and have a strong work ethic. There's a story in the Bible about John chapter 16, I believe, it's feeding of the 5,000 anyway, and it's where Jesus says that Jesus broke the bread and then He gave thanks. So there's often a break in our comfort for God to move through and do the miraculous. And the Bible's full of stories where God turned up in miraculous ways, but we have to be able to trust Him and just really give to Him what we have. Often that thing might be broken, I should say. So it's not that He's destroying the things we love, but you think of Abraham, had to give up his son Isaac, and then He blessed him with many sons. Lots and lots of stories there where God sort of went through the narrow gate, and then there was an abundance and a multiplication of blessing on the other side. So just the whole idea that we are to trust God and give God what we have. He sometimes takes that as we give thanks. Sometimes we have to die to some things, some old ways, so that we can grow in bigger ways. And there's many analogies, things like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, lots of examples in nature. The other thing I just want to touch on about thankfulness is just that, with our journey in God, it's really important that we have agreement with God. Talks about in Amos 3:3 that says, unless two agree, how can they walk together? It sounds such a simple thing, but one of the things I learned at Bible college was, particularly in the Old Testament, the times when the people of Israel stuffed up was in the times when they didn't ask God first. Many stories, I believe Joshua is one of them, and Moses talks about it, where they say, if God does not go before us, then we don't want to go. There was one time though in the Old Testament when they didn't counsel God, they didn't ask God, and they were tricked by the spies, and what ended up happening was they were robbed of their inheritance, because these guys came into the Israel country at the time and pretended they were their friends, and instead of inquiring of God, they were tricked into losing their inheritance, which was part of the land, and hence that was in a knock-on effect to the rest of the tribes of Israel. So just want to say that in the whole thing of giving thanks, it's really important that we trust God, that we have a real hunger, that we allow God to break us, and that we can just walk with him day by day. Just a quick testimony for me. When I came to New Zealand, one of the break-ins that I had to do was I had a good job as a civil engineer, and I was being called to Bible college. And in that journey, I had to find a job to cover my costs, because the student allowance wasn't that much. And I couldn't get any jobs as a civil engineer. It was a big sacrifice in the first place to leave a job with a secure wage as a civil engineer and to go to Bible college as a student. Big difference in salary, huge sacrifice. In the end, I eventually listened to God, even though it took a while. And so I did this journey. And part of the journey is you have to find work, because your allowance only goes so far. And I couldn't get any work as a civil engineer. And I had a friend who had a cleaning business, cleaning houses on the outside, because they're wooden houses in New Zealand, window cleaning. And I just got a bucket and a mop and a few squidgy wipers, and I just knocked on the rich houses in Auckland, and I just said, and I had a brush as well that you could put a hose on the back to brush and clean the houses, so it didn't cost much. And I just said, I'd like to clean your house, and I knew what the other guys were charging roughly. And in that Christmas period alone, during the holidays here when we have school break, I managed to pay off my Bible college fees, which was $2,000 for the year, which in your guys' money would be times 30, which is 60,000 pesos. And this was going back about 15, 17 years ago. So that was what the start of my journey was in business. Faithful in little, faithful in much. And then through that, somebody at Bible college, as I was continuing to do this and get more work and pay off my fees, noticed that I was being faithful with the little that God had given us, and then decided that I could quite possibly be faithful in the much. So that was how I got introduced and got the opportunity to start selling insurance in New Zealand. And I've had my own business now for 15 years. I employ staff, and I've been really blessed to be a blessing. So last thing is a vision, is just having a bigger picture about helping other people, not being content on what we have, but blessed to help others. And just like the story in the Bible where the man had a big barn and he said, I'll build a bigger barn because I've got more hay and stuff to put in. God says that he took away what he had because he didn't give to other people what they needed. Instead he got greedy and kept them for himself, and in the end ended worse off. So I pray for you guys as you take the opportunity, you have a strong work ethic, and that you go hard. And just go for it. And as you step out in faith and give it to God, he will direct your paths and bless you. So bless you guys on that note. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks for listening. And I look forward to catching up with you hopefully soon. and go strong, take the opportunities, work hard, and remember to give it to God, talk to God, and go for it. All love from New Zealand. Cheers now.